Hey guys, it's Rob here, back with another Inferno video that I'm really excited to make because this one's with a method that, as you can see in the title, we are doing a Mage Tank Inferno. And the setup for this video, pretty simple. It's a little bit different than Reynolds' method, which is, I'll link it in the description, but basically we have Echo Boots and Suffering importantly for defense. And we have the tank swap for a lot of range defense on the later waves. But actually the interesting part of this setup is we're actually using the Mage gear for the early waves. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. As you can see, the two plugins that we're using in this run are in the chat right now. They're Prayer Regeneration Helper, that's for this little message right here, and then Zar HP Tracker. What that does is, let's just pre-pod, I'm going to talk about that one in the Inferno, but our pre-pod's just Angler, Super Defense, and then a Prayer Regen. Makes the message go away, very nice. And yeah, I think I'm just going to do this one fully uncut. I think that's kind of the best way. It kind of, first of all, just matches my previous videos, and it'll really give like an accurate representation of what I think of this method. So as you can see, our Autocast is actually on Blood Barrage this time. Normally I do Autocast Ice Barrage, and that's what I recommend, but for this method in particular, you're going to see, especially even early on, you're going to see why Autocast Blood Barrage is so nice. Essentially, Kodai is our healing stick. We basically can use it to heal up pretty much whatever we need to. I'm just going to drop a potion really quick here. And Prey range is going to stay on the entire run pretty much. And importantly, at the start of every wave, we're going to Ice Barrage one time. You can finish off the nibblers with Blood Barrage if you want. The lazy way to do these early waves is just using the Kodai for the whole thing. So you can just keep the Kodai on, and technically the Eye of a Yak is better DPS, so here you'll see I'm just going to do a little bit of Eye of a Yak. It is going to save us a little bit of time, although nothing really consequential. On these early waves, if you ever need to heal up, Kodai Wand is really strong. Should be noted, this isn't a budget setup, so to speak, so that is a little caveat, but I do think this might actually be the easiest Inferno method potentially ever, because there's no flicking required, and it really turns the Inferno from, so here I do have to mention something very important. These blobs, although, so the reason why we're in our Mage gear right now is because the blobs are going to mage us with Prey range on, and the Mage gear has more Mage defense. Now the problem is that if we Blood Barrage the blob, our DPS isn't good enough, and it's gonna kind of out DPS us, so we want Eye of a Yak on, and importantly with Confliction Gauntlets, this just allows us to kill the blob before it does any significant damage. You'll see it did get a hit off on us, but we're easily gonna heal back to 99. And one thing you should keep in mind with this setup is we do have 8 brews, and it's going to be very rare for us to take a lot of damage, so the likelihood of needing all those brews is very low. The one thing you want to be careful of in this method are these blobs. Now you do have a bit more defense in the mage robes versus in the tank gear for the blobs, so the tank gear doesn't even come into play at all until the mage waves, which is kind of interesting. Now, I'm kind of just going through this kind of fast, but these bat safe spots, as you can see, I have new tile markers in the video. Link in the description for the tile markers. You want to always kill the blobs on the bat tiles, so it actually really should say bat/blob, and you see we're using the Eye of a Yak because we don't want to take excess damage from the blob. We want to kill it as fast as we can so it stops doing damage to us. And very quickly, I'm just going to show the scary waves. They're waves 7, 15, 24, and 31. So I know that's like probably hard to remember, but really you shouldn't try to remember it. Just remember when there's 2 bats and a blob, the next wave is going to be 2 blobs. So for example, the next wave after this is 2 blobs. And we aren't flicking against the blobs, so we are going to want to be aware of those waves. That is like that is the max hit, by the way, 29, just so you know. So and these things, the blobs do attack fairly slow as well, so it might look like I'm taking a lot of risk. Here, I do want to equip the Eye of a Yak here. Want to kill this ASAP, don't want to let it do too much damage to me. Especially with wave 7 coming up, of course. So always play safe for the double blob waves, because you can imagine 229 stacking you at the beginning of the wave can be pretty deadly. So I did want to mention, well, I'll focus on wave 7 right now because you just want to make sure you get out of line of sight of these blobs pretty quickly. So here we're going to go around the pillar. Want to do that fairly quickly. Notice we're finishing up the nibs with our blood barrage. It just gives us a little health back. Letting this blob pull in, and then a lot of it's just letting the monsters pull in so you can kill them, which is nice. It's nice to kill the blobs close because you can move in like that. And you see the mage gear with blood barrage kind of just makes it impossible for us to take too much damage. I mean, obviously, you can't fall asleep. This is why I'm trying to kind of mention like the especially scary waves. So the double blob waves in particular, you got to be careful about. But pay close attention to the wave start procedure here. So it's always ice barrage. Here we're going to send another ice barrage. And actually, we're just going to try to kill these. Nothing too crazy here. If you're feeling lazy on the early waves, feel free to keep the Kodai on. Although the caveat is against the blobs, you really want to use the Eye of a Yak. Now, just for demonstrative purposes, I'm just going to show you that we are actually very tanky against the melee in this gear. Watch it prove me wrong immediately, but it is kind of proving me slightly wrong, but I'm just trying to show you, as you can see, we are pretty tanky against it. You know, don't want to test my luck too much, but we're pretty tanky against it, so I just want to show you that, just so you know, we're not... I think its chance to hit us is like 1 in 4, I think, in our current gear. And that's with the mage robes on, so mage robes themselves actually have quite a bit of melee defense, believe it or not. We can just blood barrage whatever we want for health back, which is a nice thing, so... Might be like, oh no, we're running low on health. Also, another nice thing about this setup is saturated heart is infinite, so we could just infinitely resaturated heart. I'll just mention quickly about the setup in case you were wondering. The stamina is just for Zuck. We only need 1 dose. You do kind of run a little bit close. I'm 74 agility on this account, and I run a little bit close to running out, so without stamina, it's a little bit too close in my opinion. And then the Forgotten Brew is also only for Zuck. We might use a dose at triples to repotion if we need to repotion and our heart's not up. But otherwise we can just reuse the imbued heart for the whole entire run. And here I'll just take a melee hit just to shoot. Okay, never mind, it actually does max hit. I proved absolutely nothing. So you don't want to take unnecessary hits. One thing you should know is that you can freeze the melees. So right after we do this 1 barrage on the nibblers, we decide what we want to do next. So for example, perfect timing. So if you miss, you can actually just not panic and do something like this. There I just moved 1 diagonal. There's a whole number of, like, you know, you could move anywhere over here, obviously. And a thing to keep in mind is we could have healed up with the Kodai there, but Eye of a Yak is better DPS overall. We're actually getting towards a little bit of a scary wave because 15 is on the horizon, so we just have to keep that in mind. We need to sip a prayer regen, so we see the message in our chat. That's why the plugin comes in handy. And that's a huge heal, so that helps out a lot. And you'll notice with Virtus and all the mage gear, we do heal quite a lot, so... You can Phantom Barrage these nibblers. It's a little cool trick you can use. And there's no prayer changing whatsoever. I haven't even switched to my prayer tab, I don't think. Here we just want to make sure we Eye of a Yak the blob instead of blood barraging, just because the blob will kind of out DPS us. Blood barrage is quite a bit less DPS. It's not terrible, like it's still decent to the point where here, for example, I need to heal up, so obviously I'll blood barrage. But if you're full HP and you're totally safe, then totally go for the Eye of a Yak. It'll save you a little bit of time and a little bit of prayer. But again, we're just gonna one cast on the nibblers in the middle, sometimes two. If they're all frozen like this, it's easy to go for a phantom barrage like that. But don't go too crazy with it. Mostly the first cast getting hit is the most important. You want to make sure you hit the first one. And here, general rule of thumb is if there's something on you, you want to be DPSing something else. So I don't want to be taking free blob hits because the blob's eventually going to chip me down. So the reason this method is so cool in my opinion is it turns the Inferno from a mechanical puzzle into a purely logic-based puzzle, which is just really cool. Like, I don't know, I really enjoyed seeing Reynolds' method when it first came out, but I think this is it's like a step further almost. I mean, the one thing his setup does have over this is it's a lot more budget. Wow, I'm dying to this. Don't hurt me. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're just gonna Eye of a Yak because we don't want the blob to stay alive for too long. We are gonna have to brew, so... Double blob waves early are actually relatively difficult, so it's kind of okay to use a couple doses to brew. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but sometimes the later waves actually end up being easier in a way, because all the stuff has like a very little chance to hit you. Alright, here we're just gonna kill the melee. We can blood barrage it, I guess. We may as well try to get our health back while the blob is hitting us. This is what's considered, I mean, it's not like a super hard situation or anything, but it is like a little bit dire. You just want to make sure you're hitting something. Whether it's Eye of a Yak or blood barrage here, at least we're doing something here. Now we're gonna Eye of a Yak this because we want to kill it kind of fast. And then finally we can heal off of the mini blobs. And it's important to note, something you should note when you're starting out is the double blob waves, although they're very hard, and especially in this strategy, they're very, like, they're usually like the most challenging part of the strategy because you can just get hit hard like this kind of randomly, but they're always followed by some easier waves, so you really don't have to worry about, like right now for example, I don't have to worry about ending on full HP. The next wave is 2 meleeers. So even if I wanted to, even I can pray melee, I can blood barrage. I know I said I wasn't gonna turn off pray range, but you know, little exception. And we can easily get to full HP. Obviously we have the next wave, which is the 6 nibbler wave. We could also heal off of that, but actually that's probably faster to heal off of anyway. And also we can heart whenever we have it. It's not a huge deal, like by no means do we have to be hearted or anything. Yeah, as you can see, we're just using a couple of tiles. I tried not to overdo the tiles. I engineered here, make sure we put prayer range on because there are range waves coming up. But I really did try to streamline the tiles this time, make them as readable as possible, and also labeled them. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. And oh my god, I feel like I was trying to say it like 10 times, but I never got to it. But Zar HP Tracker. Okay, so what this plugin is this is the plugin where people always ask me, and this is probably too late into the video already, people are probably still commenting it, it's fine though, but so when the monster turns red, I know it's the end of the wave. When I saw it turn red, I could have already clicked the start tile. So see here, I'm kind of late to getting to the start tile, and obviously on this wave, this is a very easy wave. It doesn't matter that I got to the start tile in time or anything. But in general, you know, you want to have good habits and you want to get to the start tile as early as you possibly can. To, you know, make sure you have all your gear equipped right, make sure you have the right prayer on. Obviously, you shouldn't be changing your prayer too much with this strategy, but... Which, by the way, this strategy is just ridiculous. I'm just saying. Go get your cape. It's kind of crazy. Now, hopefully... Yeah, I mean, hopefully this just goes well. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I've done a lot of practice with this setup, let me say that. This isn't just done kind of randomly. I've actually done quite a few iterations of this before landing on this exact setup, so I do think this is pretty much the go-to setup. The one difference you could maybe make is maybe a 4th prayer regeneration. You could also bring a, so see that red thing appears, I can already get ready for the next wave. So see, like I'm already doing my next wave script. I'm putting on Kodai, I'm getting the spellbook out. And here we can heal off of the ranger as well. So the ranger is a big thing you can heal off of as well. Obviously when we're full HP we can just Eye of a Yak, but... And on the blobs we always want to use the Eye of a Yak. Just because it's a lot better DPS and the blob is pretty much the most deadly thing on these early waves. Ironically, on the later waves, it's not as much of a threat whatsoever. But I'm really stoked to be bringing you guys this guide. This is like a super interesting guide for me because obviously, like for anyone who's seen any of my other videos, you know I'm the Bofa guide guy. So like, what is this, basically? But the funny thing is, I'm not just doing this as a troll, I'm actually doing this because I genuinely think this might be the easiest Inferno method that exists right now. So, I'm dead serious. If you don't have your cape and you want your cape, this might be the method for you if you don't want to do all the mechanical mumbo jumbo, you know? This is like... just a really chill method. So 24 is... This is 23, but after 23 is 24, which is a double blob wave. And it's fine. If you wanted to, you could just keep your wand on there, because we were probably expecting the blob to hit us anyway. Make sure, of course, we re-prayer regen. Don't want to ever forget that, but that's why we got the plugin, of course. I'm trying to do everything a little bit slow and make sure to show you that you don't have to be by any means perfect, not even close. There's going to be a lot of waves where, I'm not even kidding when I say this, you're going to see as they come up, but there's going to be a lot of waves where I purposely take an extra hit off spawn, you know, from a ranger or something. Take a melee hit, you know. You know, take these mage hits. I mean, that shouldn't hit us that often, to be honest, so that is a little unlucky. So, little trick. We'll start off with a little trick that everyone should know here. So, the wave 50 plus start tile, obviously we haven't started there yet or even used it, but if you go all the way north of it, you can barrage the nibblers, even if it's all the way against the pillar. So, even if it already moved all the way against the pillar, this spot can still barrage that, so that's good to know. Now with this situation, we're actually going to take a bit of an interesting approach. Not a very intuitive thing. You're like, why are we killing the blob in the back? And the reason why is because the mini blobs actually spawn in a nice way where we can blood barrage everything, which is really nice, as you can see. So we're just getting some big blood barrages. And you're going to see we are going to heal to 99 just because the blob can damage us with this strategy, so we're just going to play it extra safe. So, you know, 98 or 99 HP. Then we're going to Eye of a Yak the blob, because we don't want to blood barrage the blob, because that's going to do more damage to us than it's going to help us. And now, I probably didn't even mention this, I'm just doing it without saying, if your final barrage against an enemy is a manual cast, you'll Phantom Barrage. So that's what I just did there, and that's a way I'm getting a lot of extra HP back as well. But the monster has to be far enough away, so there's like a little bit of a caveat. We got some nice easy waves coming up. I will take a voice break and water break, and we will be back momentarily. So the next hard wave coming up is 31. Wave 30, which is a wave that on a normal cape you would kind of expect as a difficult wave, is not at all difficult on... Oh, that was kind of cool. We froze the melee. I meant to do that. I did not mean to do that. But as you can see, we can freeze the melee. That's something you shouldn't forget. Whenever the melee is south, it's probably going to get trapped on the north pillar here. So that's something to keep in mind. Another general thing to keep in mind that I probably should have mentioned probably right away when the blob first came out, but this pillar, this north pillar here, it's very easy to use it to block the line of sight of monsters, so that's a very important use of the pillar. So try to think about that when you're around the pillar. Think about which side of the pillar you should be on to block as many monsters as possible, and make sure you ice barrage at the start of every wave. Do not forget. Don't forget. And here we just want to clean up the nibblers here. Nothing too dangerous. So another important thing you should know early on is from the wave 1 to 49 start tile, if the melee digs, you can move to the 50 plus start tile. So you can go from this mark tile to this mark tile. So as soon as the melee digs, you can make the move, and that traps it and allows you to hit it. So very nice little trick you can use there. So that's one way you can completely negate a melee. So melee gets trapped by going from green to yellow tile. Melee also gets trapped on the west side of the pillar and the south side of the pillar. Or you can freeze the meleeer in this setup. Even in your tank gear, so even with the Justy and the Bandos on, you can still freeze the meleeer pretty reliably. So, like, altogether, this is just like a pretty ridiculous strategy. You'll start to see as this goes. Really, these waves are arguably harder. Here, as we didn't get hit by the blob, we're just gonna finish off the nibbler. If you tank a bunch of blob hits, you might want to be a little more safe. Here, I mean, we can kill the blob, I guess. And then I think we're gonna have a nice barrage here. I mean, this is like a little advanced. Obviously, you don't have to do this kind of stuff on a first cape, but it's kind of cool too. I mean, and you can, like, nothing's stopping you. Here, I just used the trick we just showed. That's a very good thing to know. That's exactly why. It just fixes the melee problem. We go green tile to yellow tile. Solves that. So it is a kind of cool trick you can use, killing the blob behind the other monster and then using barrage on the bloblets. It's all based on their southwest tile, so if you're wondering why that's working, it's because the mini blobs were adjacent to the big monster's southwest tile. This is a mouthful, but hopefully that makes some sense. You're not really thinking much about this. Again, on a normal cape, this might be a wave that you consider kind of hard, actually, which is funny. I mean, it just goes to show, like, I mean, what's hard about this on this cape? Nothing, you know? I mean, we're absolutely chilling. We're not even going to pray Mage. I mean, there it just did a bunch of extra damage. So here, for example, if the melee digs here on you, you can always go here on the west side of the pillar. This is what I meant by the west side of the pillar is a melee safe spot. So when you think about it, we're praying range on these early waves. The only things that can hit us are the blob and the melee. So the melee can be solved in all these different ways that I'm showing you now, including freezing it. Including standing next to it as it's hitting you, freezing it, and then walking like a tile or two away. That's also a possible solution. So there's a number of things you can do. But really, that's really the crux of waves. You know, all the ranger waves are pretty much solved by using pillar for line of sight and dealing with the meleeer in one way or another. Just doing a bit of shenanigans here. We're not really doing anything like super optimal. Kill, whatever. I guess we'll Ivy-act the meleeer. It's a little bit tankier, so probably better to blood barrage up on the other stuff. Again, if we weren't in time to kill it there, just move to the yellow tile and we are good to go. So as you can see, need to sip a prayer regen. You know, you might think that plugin's a little bit silly, and to be fair, it kind of is a little bit, but also I have genuinely missed the timing for the prayer regen a lot in the past, so probably is nice just for the chill aspect. It kind of fits the rest of this vibe, kind of. It's kind of a chill vibe in the first place. What I was trying to say before is wave 30 is typically a very hard wave, but because the two bats are both range, it's like pretty easy in this setup. So 31 is the real challenge. This is where the dangerous things are 2 blobs and the melee. So here we're just going to go for the freeze and the melee. So we got the freeze and the melee, that solves that. You're going to see, as you can see, we actually left the nibbler for like the first time this whole run. Here we're just focusing on killing something. Don't want to panic here. If we needed to, we could brew. Here you want to move in. I'm pretty sure we've done this before, but I just haven't mentioned it. So here you want to move in because it corner traps that melee. So knowing the right spots to kill the blobs is a very good thing to do. So pay attention to where I kill the blobs and you'll be in a good spot. But yeah, you know, it's funny. Before, with the Bofa guides, I used to already say, I believe in you to be able to do this. I definitely believe in you to be able to do this. If you're watching this and paying attention, you know, remember, I have a yak on the blobs. Don't forget. Yeah, take notes. And here you can Phantom Barrage if you needed to. I do not need to, but do it anyway. So we're just gonna do a accuracy check, why not? Hit that freeze. Hit that freeze. Nice. So yeah, you can freeze some melees, you know? Obviously the saturated heart bonus helps us to kill them faster, which is just nice. Also helps us just to be more accurate with freezing and whatnot. Clean up the nibblers. We don't want to let our pillars get too low. No reason to risk any pillar health unnecessarily. And it's looking like a very nice cape so far. We've used 2 doses of potion. Don't be afraid to use your brew as well. Obviously, you might use a little bit more than me, but you really shouldn't have to. I mean, if you're paying attention to what I'm doing here, it's... I mean, and I've said this before in like my other videos, but that's when I'm having to do 1-tick alternating and stuff. This is like, I really believe you could do this. Most of it's just deciding which side of the pillar to go to. Also deciding what to do at the start of the wave. Pretty much always 1 ice barrage on the nibblers, so 1 autocast, or 1 manual cast rather, ice barrage, and then autocast blood barrage from there. Or swap to a different weapon, so you might have noticed shadows in our inventory. Why is shadow in our inventory? It's because the mage waves, because it's better DPS than I have the yak on the mages. So starting next wave, we're going to start using the shadow. We can use the heart, of course, because may as well. And we want to pray mage now, and we can put our tank gear on. So although there's nothing crazy happening on this wave, we'll still put our tank gear on. So from this point on, tank gear on. We're not going to put our Virtus on until single Jad. So once we get to single Jad, triples, and Zuck, we'll be using our Virtus again, but all the way until then, we have Bandos Chestplate, Dusty Helm, and we got Mage. We're going to roll with it. And this is where it gets very chill. You'll see we still hit pretty good on the Mage. The Confliction Gauntlets do kind of carry here, I think. I'm pretty sure, I think. I don't know. Do they? I don't know, it's kind of like whatever DPS, but technically speaking, you can put Virtus on here if you want. And like obviously like for this wave in particular, this is just like single mage, I could have just had Virtus on, but I want to just keep the tank gear on for pretty much the rest of the run. You're going to see I'm also going to start in the Crystal Shield as well, so we're doing all the tank gear on. No prayers, so kind of the logic here kind of is the prayers are like you have finite amount of prayer points, so we want to conserve our prayer a little bit. Whereas the Crystal Shield is like free defense that we don't have to pay anything for. So very, very nice. Like I have a yak crystal shield. You can finish up melees, bats. Don't really want to kill a ranger first, but interestingly, blobs, you can do the same thing. So say this bat was a blob instead, you could actually kill the blob behind the major, and they would stack up in that nice way, the same way as before, which is pretty cool. I accidentally took a bad hit there, but as you can see, well, I mean, we took a hit, so I guess we're not that tanky, but we're tanky enough, so just gonna finish off the nibblers when we can. If they're frozen, you can just use blood barrage. And no need to even think, don't even think about changing gear, don't even think about changing prayer. Here, we technically want to kill the mage first. Doesn't matter too much. I mean, it's probably going to end up respawning them, which is slightly annoying. But a cool thing about this setup is that actually you can heal off of the major like this, which is kind of interesting. So you can kind of fix your mistakes like this. In a normal cape, this is completely unheard of. You wouldn't even consider this. This is like a last-ditch resort. You're probably flicking prey mage. You're like, oh my god, I'm on wave 50. This is the farthest I've ever gotten. You're like flicking prey mage and like trying to heal off the mage, and you're like 40 HP, and then you make a mistake and you're like 10 HP. But here, you just chill. And next thing you know, we're fully HP. So it's pretty cool. So, as you can see, we're always returning to the same start tile. We're always doing one ice barrage on the nibs. And now, as you can see, blobs... Actually, we had the wrong gear on. So, remember, if you put Virtus on, you're allowed to put Virtus on. But if you do put Virtus on, make sure you like put on the right gear for the next wave start. Here I'm like using a little bit of Virtus. You can get away with using a little bit of Virtus. Just don't go too crazy. That extra blob is actually sort of to our advantage. So another thing you can do, this is like getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but it is good to think about this. So when we get to the 50 plus waves, there's going to be a mage and a range. And in that case, when you kill the mage, after that, it becomes just a range wave. So like, imagine wave 63, for example, which is everything. It's mage, range, melee, 2 blobs. If you kill the mage on that wave, it's the same as wave 31. So at that point, you could actually put your Virtus back on, put prey range on, and you could just treat it like wave 31. You know, it's like a bit of a... It's like a lot to wrap your head around, maybe. Here, we'll make sure we put our right gear on. Those is important. So on these mage waves, we can keep this on when we kill the blob. We don't have to switch our gear or anything. Don't have to change our prayer against the mini blobs either. They're not gonna do enough damage to warrant us bothering to change our prayer. So we want to always keep our tank gear on, basically, is the gist of it. So one ice barrage, can finish with blood barrage if it's looking safe enough. Obviously use your judgment. If it looks like a super dangerous wave, or if you know it's a super dangerous wave, like if it's wave 60 plus, then obviously play based on the situation. But as you can see, we're gonna just keep our tank gear on. In this situation, we are just gonna kill the blob and put the shield back on. Very simply, we're just gonna kill the blob, keep all of the same gear on, keep the same prayer on. We got a little blood barrage action going on here. You see, we take a little bit of damage, but it's almost always healed up by the blood barrage, and we can also heal off this bat at the end as well. And in fact, you shouldn't feel bad about using a brew here. I'm not saying use a brew on purpose. Like, obviously, feel free to conserve them as much as you can. But in this situation, we're 99 of 99 defense, so getting a defense boost would actually be kind of nice. Especially in this setup where we're just kind of by default, we're just tanking a lot of stuff. So Definitely nice. So we want to make sure we get our shield back on, Kodai 1. So as soon as we see the red box, that's when we can get ready for the next wave. I want to say the slight caveat is that sometimes that plugin will bug. So just be very careful. Don't 100% trust it. But it is a pretty good indicator. And for that one purpose of just knowing when the wave ends, it's usually pretty good. Really, I used to be hesitant to endorse it to learners. Be very careful here, by the way. I'm gonna have to brew. Just had a very awkward situation there. We'll use one more dose of brew. You'll see here, if you stay in line with the pillar, the mage won't be able to see us, which actually, come to think of it, doesn't matter at all. I don't know why I even thought that mattered, but... whatever, we'll put Virtus on and heal. I guess that's gonna become a recurring theme here. Virtus on, heal, and you can heal off the major if you have to. Obviously, if you're feeling like it's getting risky, then obviously you can just brew up. We're gonna see how many supplies I end the run with. I'm very interested myself to see how much supplies we have at the end of this. Now 50 plus is where we are gonna start taking probably a majority of our damage, but that being said, we have a lot of stuff to heal off of. The major we can pretty much heal off of, the ranger we can pretty much heal off of. Make sure we have the right gear on here. Just always be mindful of that. So this is a double blob wave, but not a scary one because we're in tank gear and they're ranging us. So not quite as scary. Not doing anything crazy. Notice we have the Forgotten Brew is basically just a regular imbued heart bonus, but we can use it right now. For example, we have the saturated heart cooldown, so we can't re-saturated heart, but we could use the Forgotten Brew. But as you can see, we're not wasting it because we want to save it for maybe one dose at triples and definitely the rest at Zuck, because we want to make sure we're maxing our DPS at Zuck. So here we can put on the shield, want to make sure we're as tanky as possible. That's really it. It's really a logic thing more than a mechanical thing. I'm deciding what gear to put on and then stepping out. I have a yak for increased DPS against the blob because it's better DPS than the Kodai. So here we go to we just go back to the start tile. I was gonna say it's to the next start tile, but same start tile. Just gonna test if we freeze the melee on the first try, and we did. We're just gonna see, just for fun, do we kill the melee before it unfreezes? And keep in mind we are in tank gear, so. And no offensive prayers on. And also no heart bonus, and we just now got to re-heart, so that's good. Here, obviously to play safe, just stick by the north pillar. In fact, I'm just gonna run that way now. So here, like as you can see, the melee gets trapped on the south side of the pillar here. I usually go with this camera angle where I have my camera facing west. It's just kind of my preferred camera angle because that way my inventory, as you can see, is over this like lava pit. I'm never gonna click this lava pit anyway, so it kind of just makes sense to have my inventory there. And then I can easily see pretty much all the spawns just in my immediate view. Oh, actually I didn't kill that in time. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, what's going on? I'm Rob. We're doing the Inferno. Nothing much. I mean, yeah, it's just the Inferno. Nothing too crazy. We'll have 7 of our 8 brews, so that's a lot of brews. Gonna do a freeze test. Oh, missed that one. Hit that one. So now we can move south here. if you freeze it like that, you can just move south like this. That's one way to deal with a meleeer like that. I did that once earlier too. So just because we're scared of the meleeer, we're just going to kill that first. Now we kill the nibbler here. Notice how I'm taking my time with everything. I'm basically just logicking this out. So it's like, okay, kill the bat now. Okay, Tumikin's Shadow on. Kill the mage now. Obviously, if you want to, feel free to put Virtus on here. Like, it would increase your DPS, but we're still going to get a relatively fast cape. And the reason that it's nice to keep your tank gear on is you'll just never forget to put it back on. And forgetting to put it back on is a bigger risk than having slightly worse DPS, in my opinion, because you see we still hit quite often with the tank gear on, which is really the crux of this whole, I was going to say experiment. I mean, it kind of is an experiment, but this method, I guess. Alright, so here we're just going to run to the north of the north pillar. We got the freeze off. Also froze the bat there, so everything got frozen. We have to sip our prayer regen, so we'll do that. Also trying to give commentary on all my thoughts while we're going through this. Nibblers on the pillar, we're not too worried about that. We've kept our pillars very healthy. If the nibblers are getting to your pillars more, then you might want to be a bit more worried about that. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to play it pretty safe. You want to make sure you always get that freeze off at the beginning of the wave, though. If you miss that a lot, that's going to be where you lose a lot of pillar health. But yeah, we're just chilling. I'm going to keep saying things like, oh yeah, you can swap to Virtus now if you want. But I probably won't. Probably just chilling. Nibbler is still on the pillar. One thing to note is that it is one nibbler, and the amount of nibblers on the pillar does matter. If there were 3 on the pillar, I would be a bit more concerned. You know, if there were 2 on the pillar, I'd be a bit more concerned. If there were 3 on the pillar, I would be quite a bit more concerned. Make sure we have the right prayer on, right gear on, always. Here, we can take our time. We don't have to... There's no need to panic here. We have literally, like, all the time in the world. We can finish off the nibbler here. We can do a bunch of things. I mean, I'm just going to show you, just for example, we'll just hit the meleeer here. I'm not even going to pray against it. Is it going to kill me? Probably not, because so like before with the mage gear on, it already had, I think, a 1 in 4 chance. Now it's like a 1 in 5 chance to hit us. So it's like not even going to hit us. Okay, there you go, hit us, but we're just letting the mage drag out. I guess I didn't have to do that. I don't know why I took blob hits, but whatever. We'll just heal a little bit. A little bit more. Just keep healing. Just keep healing. Why not? We got the mage gear, so why not use it, right? This method is just so much. It's just so much fun, dude. I don't know. Why is this so chill? I'm like, this is the Inferno. This is supposed to be some mechanical feat. What's going on here? So we just keep on keeping on. Here we're gonna try to freeze the meleeer. We got the freeze off, so we don't have to really panic here. We'll just kill melee, kill bat, kill mage. Sound good? Sounds good to me. That's about it. I mean, it doesn't get easier on wave 46 than that. If you're considering Bofa versus this method, I mean, that was a pretty good case for this method. I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I'm sure by the time we get to wave like 62, 63, it's gonna look even crazier too. Not to mention that we're not even gonna off-tick stacks behind the pillar too, so we're not even getting to the fun part yet. Yeah, but this is legitimately crazy. I would not make a video like this if I didn't believe in this method because I would just be trolling. And I'm not trolling. I'm here to help. So, so yeah. Basically, this is cracked. Yeah, this is a cracked method. Just saying, do it. Low key, it's like actually like crazy. Like I'm not even praying against this blob, like this blob, and then the mini blobs. Like I still don't pray against them. It's like, and I don't recommend you do either. The one thing is, like, you could do things like pray against the mini blobs, or pray against even like lazy flicking the blobs, or praying against the melee sometimes, but it's just not even necessary most of the time with the setup. Now there I just went for an aggressive barrage because I knew I was probably safe from the melee, or at least relatively safe. And yeah, I'm not gonna change my prayer. Alright, so let's see. If we kill the blob, do we get any cool stack up? I just like doing this. I don't know. It's kind of fun just to see what happens, to be honest. I mean, obviously the blob's not gonna... Here we'll wanna... Let's kill the melee first. Ooh, should I give spoilers? Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Okay, so for mage range, so like a blob is the same size as a ranger, so mage range stack, this is what we do. Step out on the east side, you have to freeze the major, might take you multiple tries. And then we go to this tile where we can barrage the nibblers from, and out one. So I know that's like a lot of things, but that's a bit of a complicated one. I thought that was like weird, but I just basically showed you how to destack if the mage is in front and the range is in back. So there you go. So that's one pillar stack already down. So now all we have to learn is if there's a blob or a ranger in front, then what do we do to destack it, which is actually even easier. So that was really the hard one. The hard one is if the major's in front. And so the thing is, there, if that was a ranger, you would have had to tank a range hit. So it would have been not like super scary, because obviously you have all your tank gear, but you know, a little risky. Gotta be on your toes a little bit, making sure if you take like a huge hit or something, you're being careful. Sometimes you might have to brew up. But most of the time it's gonna hit a 0 on you is the thing, just mathematically speaking, so. That was kind of sick. Alright, so obviously we're going to want to heal as close to full as we can. You can see if you're kind of feeling lazy, you can just kind of keep your healing stick on, which is your Autocast blood barrage. So just healing stick to full. Melee test, is it going to hit us? Nope, it doesn't. So yeah. You know me, just trying to prove a point. But wave 48, I mean, truthfully, not as hard as wave 31. This is the same as the other wave, but the thing is now we're tanky against the blobs, so it's not really that scary. This is a shitty spawn, though. Ooh, that's a shitty spawn, and the melee maxed us, so now we're in chance range. This is not looking pretty. Little ugly there. Melee's hitting us as well. Sip of prayer regen. We're gonna go for this blob here. Not panicking. We probably should have just kept the Eye of a Yak on so we could keep the shield on. Just kill something here. That's the TLDR. Kill something, and then here we're just gonna very quickly finish the nibbler here. And that pretty much solves the wave, so not an easy wave. I mean, that was 48, so that's no joke of a wave. So... pretty sure I can show the stack thing with the ranger in front with these, even though the blob is in the back and not the mage. So if these two things in the back here, so if these two blobs were range and mage, you would do this, exactly this. So it would be a ranger and a major. We would step out the other side, so this side, freeze the blob, or it would be the ranger, and then step this side and then back behind the pillar. I don't think you have to go out that far. I think just like here would be fine. I think I went out too far, but so if it's a ranger in front, freeze this side, go out this side, and then back behind the pillar. Mage front, you freeze it this side, go to the nibbler freeze tile for the north pillar, which is directly north of the 50 plus start, and then out one. I know that's like a lot of stuff, but that's like pretty important because if you don't want to flick at all, that's like pretty much a requirement to know how to do that. So that's the destacking technology. We'll be probably seeing it in the 50 plus waves, although it's not guaranteed that you'll see a stack, so we'll see what ends up happening, what the RNG ends up giving us. But I am certainly excited for it, and I hope you are too, because this is like super exciting for me. I'm just very happy to be making this video because it's one that I didn't even know if I was going to make. At one point I thought I was absolutely not going to make it. I was like, I am not going to encourage people to do this shit. And here I am. So, you know, people change, things change, you know. Let the melee hit us just to prove a point. No way, we tanked it, you know. Here's just a general tip. If you got the mage in the corner like this, you can just stay put, let the melee dig, and then kill the melee. But also we can step one north. This keeps the mage corner trap, so if we step back into the corner, it's now re-corner trapped, and now we can pray melee. If you didn't want to do that, you can just stay in the corner and just wait for the melee to dig as well. As you can see, we're only 50 minutes in. That's really not long at all, considering we're using a pretty conservative setup, I would say. One that's not, like, super DPS heavy. And we're in our tank gear. We're camping our tank gear for the mage waves as well, which is just straight up a loss of DPS, so. But it means after every wave, so as soon as you see the red box from the plugins, our HP tracker, so right now I can go that, make sure my prayer's on, go to my spellbook, ice barrage, get ready. And actually, we want to be starting on the 50 plus start tile. That was actually my bad. The new start tile now is this one. So this one, it gives us a little bit less, there's like a little bit less of a chance of a ranger to hit us at the start of the wave. So that's why we use the 50 plus start tile now. But even still, it's more just like a min-max kind of thing because the ranger's not super likely to hit us anyway. But it is good to do though. It is good to, on these waves, we want to start playing a little bit safer regarding the nibblers. We don't want to be chasing them too hard. Sometimes the ranger will hit you hard, is the kind of, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. So here, for example, like we'll obviously pray against the ranger, because obviously there's nothing else, so of course we will. When you can pray against the ranger, you want to, but it's kind of similar accuracy to the meleeer. It might even be less accurate. Don't 100% quote me on that, but I'm not sure with our gear setup. But it's similar though. It's definitely similar to the meleeer. So here, make sure our right gear is on, right prayer is on, importantly. Ice barrage. And I didn't mention this yet, but it is true. The nibbler tile there, the pink nibbler tile, that's the middle of a 3x3 where they can spawn. So they can actually spawn anywhere in that 3x3 of tiles. So they won't always spawn on that tile, so you might have to adjust, just to mention that. Let's see, I'm just trying to like figure out what's the easiest, so we'll probably just kill this and then kill the mage. Obviously, any mistakes could be healed up with Lay Healing Stick. And Yeah, I'm really happy to bring this in a live commentary format too. It's not easy to do a live commentary Inferno, but I really enjoy it just because it's nice to be able to give my thought process. I just really enjoy that aspect of it especially. Okay, we'll miss a prayer on the Rangers to prove a point. There you go. Okay, obviously, like, if you kept missing prayers, like, the thing is gonna hit you eventually, okay? So, like, don't try to get hit. That's not my point, but also sometimes the plugin will kind of glitch like that, you see? So there, it showed us a little bit late, so you can't always rely on the plugin, but sometimes the plugin will show you really early. Like, there, it knows that all the nibblers are dead, which is just very nice for us. Here, it's good to... Usually a good default is I have a Yak and Crystal Shield, just because the Crystal Shield is even extra range defense. And there, as you can see, we didn't even pray against the Ranger. I almost forgot that it could even damage me. And that's actually, believe it or not, that's actually the danger of this method, is forgetting that things can actually do damage and kill you. Because sometimes you can very easily forget. I mean, you can just imagine. Here, we'll just keep our tank gear on. We don't want to forget to put it back on. So even though we're losing a bit of DPS, it's just not, it's the kind of thing where you just don't want to think that hard about it. Like, we're trying to clear the Inferno, not speedrun it, you know? So make sure we're on the start tile, write prayer, spellbook open. So here, recommended solution is kill the blob, actually. This is, like, weird. This is, like, never a solution on a normal cape you'd see. As soon as you see the red box, we can take out our healing stick. Kodai 1. And we can move here, and we can finish off these nibblers, because this is still important to clear the north pillar. Definitely don't want our north pillar to fall. At least not this early. Well, okay, not ever, not ever, not ever. Maybe like 66, which is like double mage. Maybe then it can fall, but... Until then, I actually kind of would like our north pillar, so... North pillar, always the priority. As you can see, we're still chilling in our tank gear. Echo Boots and Ring of Suffering are like the unspoken MVPs of this setup. They are insane range defense, and Ring of Suffering gives no negative magic, and Echo Boots gives very little negative magic. So do Bando's Chestplate and Justy Helm. They just don't give very big negatives. Alright, so here, this is what I was talking about. So this is range and blob, and you're like, well, what do we do here? This is actually kind of the reason why we had our mage gear on in the early waves, is because if you have Prey Mage on and tank gear, it's just worse than having mage gear on and Prey range and just tanking the blob. So here we just kill the blob. We want to do a nice fat blood barrage. And we want to make sure we remember to put our tank gear back on. So wow, I can't believe that all those barrages missed. That's kind of crazy. There we go. Alright, so start tile, gear, prayer, spell. Alright, and what are we gonna do? I mean, I'm down to just take the easy method. I don't care. So we're gonna put the Eye of a Yak on. We're gonna kill the blob. And obviously we'll blood barrage all of our health pack. That's about it. So that's good for that. Oh, I say that and then it freaking spawns back on me. That's great. We'll just kill the blob. We're not gonna overthink this. It's nice if you hit it on the first tick there, you can hit all 3 mini blobs there, which is nice. But not necessary. Like, this could be a lot more messy and it would still be fine. The goal isn't perfection, and I even had that one wave where I ate like a whole brew and a half. Sometimes it'll happen, so... You know, the thing that you have to kind of realize, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around, but you just won't need the brews most of the time. I know it sounds kind of bizarre. It's like, it's hard to believe, but if you trust me, like, you just you won't need them most of the time. So when you really need them, like, use them basically, because you won't need them as much as you actually need them in the future. There's a tendency for learners especially to overestimate how much supplies they're going to need in the future, which is, it's understandable to be honest, because the Inferno it's a marathon content, you know, so it's just, it makes sense, but I'm telling you, you don't really have much to worry about here. As long as you, basically as long as you follow the methods I'm doing, it's kind of easy. I mean, I don't know, is that going too far? I mean, you tell me if that's going too far, but I don't know. I mean, this is crazy though, look at this. I don't know, you think of the Inferno as just a place where all the monsters are like terrifying, and here we are, like, we're ignoring the blobs, we're ignoring the bats, the rangers don't really bother us, the meleeers we can freeze, like, I don't know, it's just pretty crazy. Get our tank gear back on most of the time. Obviously feel free to up your DPS a little bit by putting on the Virtus here and there, but I don't recommend it too much overall, especially if it's really your first cape, because it's really not good to risk it like that. Woo. Thought that was dead. I think that was a bug. I'm so used to the plugin bugging once in a while, I just kind of like accept it for what it is, but if that annoys you, obviously by all means don't use the plugin, but I find it really, really nice for knowing when the wave ends. It's like, for example, I'll just try to explain one more time, because for anyone who's like, what the heck is this guy talking about? So when this red box appears, I know that the monster's gonna die. There it bugged and it didn't show me, but here it might. So for example, here, I'll know when I can put my gear on and get ready for the next wave. So like right now, I can go get ready for the next wave. And I know it earlier because of the plugin. That's really the benefit of the plugin. Here, nothing crazy. We're just gonna do easy stuff. This is a little awkward. We're going to do this, I guess. I don't know. Do we have another option? I don't really see it, so. Don't hurt me, Blob. I mean, I guess Augury is kind of like, this is like the one Augury situation. Like, I'm telling you, like, do not use Augury. But this is like the one Augury situations, like when you have to tank a blob like this. The only other thing we can do is kind of like run at the blob. So here we're upping our damage against the mage, so we have to tank the blob for less time. And then on top of that, we're also... This is just, hold on, this is just complicated. Whoa. Whoa, it almost max hit us. Alright, so we brewed again. 56. Pretty unlucky spawn, to be fair. So, that's what I'd say about that. That's pretty much like, I mean, any spawn where a lot of stuff is north of the pillar, that's generally going to be a, you know, quote-unquote bad spawn. But you just gotta deal with it the best you can. Here, we can just put our tank gear back on. Want to make sure we turn Augury off. Do not camp Augury. Do not camp Augury. I repeat, do not camp Augury. Turn it off ASAP. It's like only for niche situations, and only then you turn it off right when you're done. It's basically the best way to use Augury. Otherwise we get low on resource, which is no bueno. So here we're gonna miss an extra ranger hit just to show if we're slow changing our prayers. And we're just gonna blood barrage everything. We're just gonna show the really simple method here. That way also, if we get a ranger respawn, we might get a stack that we can show, which is... I was kind of wanting to show the actual stacks. Hopefully if you were paying attention earlier, I think it was wave like 47, 48 where I was showing like how to de-stack stuff. Then hopefully you already understand, but... Here, I'm gonna miss a prayer on the meleeer just to show you that we're not in too much danger here. And And I mean, obviously, if you can pray against that, then go ahead, but don't feel pressured to pray against that just because you can, if that makes... I know that sounds kind of weird, but it really is true. It's like, don't feel pressured to flick stuff just because you can, because as you can see, you really don't have to. I mean, there have been times where we've changed to pray range when there's only a ranger, you know, that's fair enough. We just want to watch out for a ranger respawning here. In fact, we're going to put our tank gear on just preemptively. Don't want to really be camping Virtus. It's on a first cape, you just want to keep the tank gear on the whole time on these later waves. No Virtus at all, unless you're healing at the end of the wave, and if that, you have to make sure you get your right gear back on. It's very, very important. So here, we see the red box. We get our wand and shield on. Ice barrage. We're just going to chill. We see the rangers on us. We're going to pray range because we see the mage can't get to us. Here, be very careful not to misclick the bat. Very easy to misclick this bat. I like to right click it and click attack. I know it seems excessive, but the bats can be very like weird with the click box, so same thing with the melee to an extent. So just be kind of careful with that. Sometimes you might want to right click just to be extra safe. There, obviously, I flicked against the ranger and then the major, but obviously if you're not comfortable doing that, just pray mage early and then go around the corner. But as you can see, we're on the hard waves and it's going a-okay. We look like we have a pretty good amount of supplies left, so I'm happy with it. Here we'll change to pray range. We will clean up the pillar. And don't go crazy. I mean, you're probably like, oh my god, the pillar's one. Really, the only pillar that's super important is north pillar. The way I like to put it is a lot of people say the other pillars don't matter at all. I think they do matter, but it's just they're like the total health of all your pillars matter because they're going to go randomly to a pillar. So here they go to the north pillars. Luckily, we catch the freeze on all of them. We're just going to very quickly do that. And then as you can see, just camping pray mage, no offensive prayer. Tank gear is still on. If the melee dug, we really don't care that much. I mean, for one, we could just tank it and kill it. We'd probably have a pretty damn good success rate. So, like, you know, think of it that way. Like, worst, I mean, we'll even just do it. We'll just, I mean, so, like, obviously, alternate solution is just go to the side, like, go to, like, the green tile, pray range, and then, you know, go to that side. But here, I'm just showing you. And keep in mind, Crystal Shield is some melee defense as well, so there we didn't even have the Crystal Shield defense, and we were a-okay. This guide feels wrong, man. What is this? What's going on? Is this legal, guys? And yeah, sometimes I'll just kind of like lazily shadow something. Here you just want to make sure 100% you're 99 HP. Like super, super important. But yeah, guys, I'm telling you, I think this might be the new meta. This might be the new play. Obviously, I think the gear setup is about a bill, if I'm not mistaken. Which, you know, is a little steep for some people, admittedly, I will say. But if you want to get your Infernal Cape and you want to do it yourself, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Kinda sick. Alright, so here we're gonna do the kill the blob method. This is probably gonna drive, like, there's probably some, like, really good Inferno doers that are, like, watching this and they're, like, crying. They're like, why is he killing a blob first? Or actually, maybe they're not crying. Maybe they're like, this is freaking sick. They're like, holy shit, this guy's healing off of everything. Holy. Here, little trick. So I did that a little quick. What I should have done is I should have had my tank gear already on. Again, I'm playing around with like the Virtus a little too much, so you don't want to really go too crazy with the Virtus. Just gonna continue to point that out, especially on these hard waves. The tank gear is just being on forever. So here, for example, if I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, pray Mage and go around the corner. So I prayed Mage first, and then I clicked to go around the corner. That's the safe way. Obviously here we can heal up. It's probably good to heal up. This is one situation where you will want to put on your Virtus, but again, just be very careful. Be cautious when you're putting on your Mage gear on the late waves. This thing is going to be annoying because it's going to hit us through our prayer, but we're just going to try to kill it with barrage. I think if we hit these in the first tick, I think we hit all of them. Yeah, that's just a nice little tech. Stop respawning stuff. I guess we kind of asked for it by killing everything first before the Mage, so kind of wished it upon ourselves here. Alright, so we're just going to put our tank gear back on. Doing good. I mean, it's feeling smooth. Correct prayer on, correct ice barrage on. Oh, and there's Nibbler on the pillar. Okay, cool. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, why is the freaking wave not starting, man? No freaking wonder. Okay. Alright, 61, here we go. Alright, so I put the Eye of a Yak on because that's lets me keep my crystal shield on, which allows me to tank. Here I'm being careful just to be careful where I'm clicking on the melee here. So right now we just have the... Think of it this way, right now we just have the blob attacking us with range on our tank gear, so we're pretty safe. Obviously it can occasionally hit us, so we have to be careful not to drop too low. It hit us again. That was like technically a chance, but... Just be careful you have the right prayer on. It's very easy to like just have a lapse in judgment and forget what prayer you have on or which gear. So just be very, very like careful about the gear switches. It's my biggest piece of advice for sure. So I'm thinking this. I don't even know if they're gonna line up with the Southwest. I think they do though, and if so, it's gonna look kind of cool, so. Oh yeah. I think we just Phantom Barraged everything, all 4 of those. That was kind of sick. Okay, sip a prayer regen. We'll kill the Mage. We will actually, we'll heal up. Notice we're still in our Virtus, just to make sure we're aware of what gear we're in. That being said, Virtus is still pretty strong against the melee, believe it or not. Not the Ranger. So Virtus has like no range defense. That's why it's bad against range. But it does actually have quite a bit of melee defense, so that's a little fun fact. So the melee is like never ever really our biggest fear. Can always freeze it. We can always tank it. It doesn't even matter what gear we're in. We can always tank it. Like, I'll just show you. Like, even if we tank a hit in this gear, we're probably not going to get hit. Tank another hit. Okay, there we got hit. There we didn't get hit. You see my point. So, once again, I'm just going to show this once again because it's important. So, imagine this is range, Mage. So, we step out here. We go here, and then this drags the Mage on this side. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that made sense. I don't know if we're gonna get to see it this run, which is unfortunate. I mean, I kind of just like assumed that we would, because when do you not see stacks in the Inferno? I don't know, but whatever. Scam game. But hopefully you understand just from my explanation. It's not too hard, honestly. Of course, make sure you check the description. I'll put a bunch of info in the description as well as how to do like the stacks. So don't worry about that. I'll definitely be putting that in the description. Here we're going to kill the blob. Yes, blasphemous, I know. Absolutely terrible. This is a little trick. I mean, kind of like the other trick before, but it's basically if you step here and you step out one, the ranger will get dragged down here. It's just a little trick you can use. Wasn't necessary, but we could have just like killed everything or whatever. But just make sure we're walking out with our correct prayer on, of course. It should be noted too, I just wanted to say this now, it's going to get more important come triples, but I like to use my F keys to switch between these tabs, my prayer and my inventory in particular, but you don't need to use F keys, especially on the waves. By all means, you can completely get away without F keys. But where F keys do come into play is triple Jads if you make a mistake. So if you make a mistake at triples, it's very good to be able to heal up in between if you're able to use F keys to like brew, go back to your prayers, click a prayer, go back to your inventory, click a brew. If you don't have F keys, you have to, probably the best thing would be to say put my brews down in the bottom like this so I can very easily click them, if that makes any sense. I am messing myself up. Okay, here we go. Alright, I just got into a corner, you know, I felt safe in the corner. Just keep and pray Mage on. You know, we'll pray Augury for this one. 63 is a little scary. We'll pray Augury, why not? Alright, we killed the meleeer. Augury off. Now we're just gonna keep Augury on. Whatever, it's wave 63. I mean, it's fine. We'll give it the pass for this one. Oh, those are okay. Well, I mean that is asking to be barraged. And this is it's just asking for it. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just killing stuff. I'm just killing stuff. Listen, don't ask questions, just kill stuff. Kill stuff, win game. And don't miss a prayer against the major. And preferably don't be in your not tank gear against anything range ever. So bats, blobs on prey mage, rangers. Always be in your tank gear. And now we can turn prey. Now we can turn Augury off. Really quickly deal with the blob. Make sure we're not running out of prayer. I didn't even realize we were getting that low. As you can see, we still have 5 brews, 6 restores, and we've made plenty of mistakes. Like, dude, no one watched this video. No one's watching this video right now is like, oh no, like, okay, I can believe it about my other videos. People being like, okay, well, like you're good in doing this. Like, I can't do that. I understand that. This one, not so much, dude. Like, I think you can do this. I'm just putting it out there. Alright, let's see. I don't even know how we solve this stack, so this is going to be interesting. Let's start off just by killing everything that we can. Now, if this was on the other side of the pillar, I would go... Well, I'll just show you... I'll show you what I would do if it were on the south side of the pillar, and we'll see if that works. We're basically doing real-time testing, basically. So if it's mage front... Well, first we'll finish the nibblers, why not? But yeah, we're not dealing with the stack. I mean, we're getting rid of the stack one way or another, believe me. Believe me on that. I am not flicking the stack, bro. That is not happening in this video. Hell no. Oh wait, hold on. Make sure we pray mage. That was almost scary. Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks. That's just what I wanted. Okay. Alright, so hold on. We'll pray Augury just to try to not take a hit, hopefully. So normally we would step back here, and then here, and then here. And that doesn't work, so... Huh, okay, interesting. So... What about if we try the other way? Or what if... Maybe we have to go farther back, actually, but now it's going to unfreeze. So we're gonna try the other way. That would work if they were on the south side of the pillar. Putting that out there. I know this is like a little scuffed, but alright, here we go. Alright, we're just gonna heal off this thing. Damn, I don't know how to do this. This is like a little difficult. I think if we freeze it on the first side again, go farther back, I think that'll work. All right, let's just try this. If we take a hit, obviously we're ready to eat a brew. So there you go. So if you go all the way back, oh no, don't get chanced. Oh my god. Okay. So if you go all the way back, which is kind of how it works on the other side too. Okay, so sorry everyone for the little detour there, but we had to learn how that works. So freeze the mage on, if it's on this side, on the south side. If it's on the south side, you freeze the mage on the east side. So it's like here you freeze it this side. And then here you'd freeze it this side. And then we would do the same thing, but what I was trying to show is you'd go here and then out here, and that would drag the ranger out from behind. So that's the method for that. Now, if it's ranger front on the west side, you're screwed, buddy. I don't know. No. I mean, honestly, you probably just have to test something. I mean, it's probably similar to the others. You could probably freeze the front thing somehow. But yeah, there's pretty much always a way to destack it without much issue. Here, make sure we put our tank gear on. Definitely want our tank gear on for the 65. Here, oh no, I was late putting my prayer on because I'm so slow. That's crazy. Actually, I wanted to make those stack up, but I was too slow, so whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. I think we're just killing everything. I don't know. What even is this? And we just took a range hit there. Not necessary. We'll say that much. But really, I mean, this method's crazy though. You gotta admit though, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I've also wasted some restore doses as well. Like, there have been some times where I've had to restore after brewing and I've been like 90 prayer, so I've wasted some pretty important prayer doses. I'm just gonna heal off of this a little first. I don't know what I'm really doing. I'm just healing off of stuff. But why not, you know? We got the mage gear, so why not use it? Now we just want to be ready. If it respawns a ranger, we just insta put our tank gear on. Obviously can use the heart, may as well. And then this is wave 66, so that's it, I guess. I mean, that's the waves. I mean, that was like that was the pog part of the video. Now this is the boss's part of the video, which is still a challenge in and of itself, but definitely a quite different challenge. At this point, we can just put our Virtus onto camp, because now we're into the Jads part. Very exciting, very exciting. And I will try to give my best tips for this, assuming you pretty much have never done the Inferno before. So I pretty much have mapped out what I'm going to say. We'll say like the F3 thing is pretty much like, or I'm sorry, not the F3 thing, but the F keys thing is probably the most important thing. If you can be bothered to learn that, if you don't already use them, then that'll be a big advantage. You can get away without it. Again, the way I would do that is I would move my brews closer to here so I could go hit the prayer, hit the inventory, hit the brew right next to the inventory icon. You see how it's like the brews now are close to my icons on the bottom. Alright, so importantly, when we see the mage die, we're going to the single Jad tile. Augury can go on now. We can camp Augury. We have plenty of prayer now. And we're just going to look for the next attack. If you're brand new to this, a cue you can use is the audio cue. So if you hear the mage attack, that's mage. If you don't hear anything, then that's range, I'm sorry. So if you hear nothing and then this, that's range. And here we're just gonna tag the healers one by one with the shadow. So we're not gear changing, we're just staying in our prayer menu to make it as easy as possible. So change our prayer. Here we can move back behind this healer. This isolates the healer so only one can hit us now. And we're continuing to watch the Jads attacks. This is good practice for triples, which is upcoming. Little trick with this is if you're feeling comfortable enough to, you can switch to your Kodai after this is done and get a barrage off of these healers. It can heal you quite a lot often, so pretty good. Also, you can pray melee in between, but that's a little advanced. I wouldn't really recommend that. There you go, we just healed a tiny bit. We'll use a dose of restore just so we have prayer going in. And we're looking for which order they are. It starts in a random order, so we just want to not be surprised by that. And as you can see, the triple star tile is also marked. We're focusing prayers first and then hitting a healer. We're doing like one action max in between every Jad attack. So for example, if we had to heal up here, say we made a mistake. In fact, I will make a mistake. That was weird, it did a 1, but see how I'm basically getting ready every time to change my prayer. And then I'm flicking my F key to my inventory to get ready to hit a brew. So it is kind of difficult. I would 100% recommend practicing that outside of triple Jads, like before you're actually in this part, so that you're already comfortable with it. But yeah, I do personally like using the audio cues. I think it's really helpful for Jads. It's very consistent. It's like pretty much you listen for the mage sound. It's like if you hear the mage sound, it's mage. If you don't hear the mage sound, then it's range. Another tip I generally always give is don't fall asleep on 2 triple Jads because they're still pretty close together. It's very easy to just take a hit accidentally and your run just ends right here. I've seen it happen before. It's happened to me before, I'll say it. You know, like, I've died on the single Jad at the end of triples. It's happened to me, dude. If it's happened to me, then you best believe it can happen to you, so... yeah. There you go, we're on the last Jad, so... here, it's up to you. You can move back to the first single Jad tile if you want. Doesn't really matter. I like this side too. And we just want to make sure we move a couple tiles north or south. So in this case, because we're south of him, we want to move a couple tiles south. And that'll isolate the healers. Make sure, you see I'm making sure I check my prayer in between each healer hit. And there too, I check my prayer. Here we move one extra tile south. Almost missed my prayer there. You gotta make sure you're not falling asleep here. Still can't believe that triple jet hit me at 1. That is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so here, let's brew up to 115 because we're about to go into Zuck. It's about to get real. All right, stamina before Zuck, pre-stamina. I have a yak on, special attack on. Now, I have a yak spec. It doesn't matter too much. Like, it's not going to make or break, but it is worth using, so you may as well. The only thing that's a little bit weird about it is that it has a different attack delay than the normal I have a yak attack. I think it's like a 6 tick. It's either 5 or 6 tick. I think it might be 5 tick. But either way, it's a bit of an awkward timing, so just be careful if you are using the I have a yak specs. Make sure we're imbued hearted. I didn't even realize we weren't. So that's important for sure. Now, important is what we do when the sets come. We only have 3 brews, which isn't like a ton. So we gotta play it a little bit careful. We don't wanna do anything rash. So we're gonna just tag this. You can tag this from this tile. And we just want to put on our tank gear here. Luckily, we killed that in just 3 hits, so that's nice that we killed the ranger nice and fast. So, all the way until healers, you can always go directly to the next safe spot, as long as you don't go past the next safe spot. So, for example, one more tile than this is dangerous here. That would have gotten me hit, so that's the furthest you can run pretty much. But as soon as you see his attack animation, like right there, I can already move to the next one. When healers come, it changes, so you do have to be a lot more careful when healers come. When healers come, he attacks faster and not necessarily in the safe spots. Although these corner safe spots, so this one right here in the corner and on the other corner, is the furthest he can shoot the shield, basically. So that's like the furthest you'll have to go ever. So the reason we pre-stam going into Zuck is we don't even have to worry about it now. We can basically just pretend we have infinite run now. We don't even have to ever repot it. We could be 1 agility and we would be totally fine. So we're absolutely good now. There, we just waited till 600 HP, under 600 HP, because that's when the set timer pauses. So the next thing we have to think about, so there's Jad. When Jad spawns at 480, the set timer unpauses. What that means is we basically have to make a decision. Do we want to kill Jad and then push for Zuck healers, or do we want to kill Jad, get Zuck close to Zuck healers, and then wait? So those are the 2 options we have. Now, you might be wondering, how do you decide which one of those to do? If it's your first cape, now it depends. If you have a lot of supplies left, I would definitely recommend waiting for a second set before healers. And the reason why is basically you have enough, like, you're basically supply bottlenecked for another set. It's really not like a time thing, it's just a supply thing. So if you have plenty of supplies, you may as well just do the potential third set. That I almost moved early. Be very careful. Here, our DPS is good. With 3 brews, I would say we could even wait for a set, and I think that would be fine. We're kind of we're in a position where we could really do either choice, and either one would be really acceptable. Just get an Eye of the Yak spec off, why not? If you wanted to, you could hit a stamina again. I know for sure we're good now. If you pre-stamina going into Zuck, you're totally fine. I think we're just gonna proc the healers. I think we'll have plenty of time. If you weren't sure, by all means, wait here. Don't be afraid to wait here. I'm gonna do one more shot if I think we proc the healers there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're basically just counting the Eye of the Yak cooldown, if you would. Want to kill these as fast as possible. Staying behind the shield near the leading edge, so you want to stay towards the front of the shield. If you want, you can just move into this spot as the furthest. You don't have to move any further. Some people recommend moving one farther so you dodge the fireballs a little bit. I just think that's a little too advanced for most learners. No offense, like, you know, with all respect, I just think that's a lot to do. So we probably will have to deal with another set. If we have another set, we just don't panic. Also, be very careful. I almost just ran ahead of the shield. You do not want to do that in a moment like this. Especially if this is your first cape. Especially if this is your first cape. So here, the corner tile is the furthest that we have to run into the corner. Here, we want to be careful. We don't want to run too far ahead. We'll sip our prayer regen. Why not? As you can see, I mean, we're 113 HP. We had to clean healers. Like, that's the one thing you could kind of, like, not criticize me for, but you could, like, call me out for. You go, okay, well, you had to clean healers, and I don't know if I'd have that, and that's fair enough. Definitely watch how I did that healers, though. The start was pretty clean. Whoops. Be careful of that. So that was, if you step on one of these middle tiles. Let me see, actually. Here, so I'll actually show you real quick. These tiles are dangerous. Well, not dangerous, so to speak, but these tiles, you get dragged towards the middle if you attack from them. So see here, the tile next to me, I don't get dragged, but here I get dragged towards the middle, you see? It's always towards the middle as well, so that's always how it goes. Mostly just keep clicking, be careful. Clicking behind the shield, I should say. We'll just do the absolute safest strat. We'll just tag. Tank gear's on. We have plenty of brew. This shouldn't even be remotely chanceable. We are getting kind of unlucky and getting hit a little bit, though. There we go. I don't think it maxes to 49, but just to be safe. So you see, we had quite a bit of time. That was how much time. Notice how much time we had after the... Oh, we can put our Virtus back on now for Zuck. But notice how much time we had after the healers. And that's where you'd make the decision, in theory, if you'd send or not. So it's like... Obviously, as a learner, you don't know how much time you have, so that's where I would probably recommend just waiting for the second set, then sending healers. So you want to wait right before 240, essentially. That'd be my recommendation for most people. But if you like what you saw here and you think you could pull off the 2 set, by all means, you know. think we could have done more IV aspects too, but that's not a huge deal. But there we go. That's pretty quick for a first cape, honestly. I mean, 137, like that's if you get a cape in that time with no prayer flicking at all, guys, I don't know. That's kind of crazy, guys. Like, I don't know. Like, did you guys see what I saw there? I don't know. That was kind of cool. Oh my god, I don't know. I thought I was never gonna make a mage tank video, and you know the thing that really changed my mind was the early wave strategies with the mage gear camp and the range spray. So really, that is kind of what tipped the scales for me and made it a lot more fun for me. I think it's a great method. Caveat being, you have to be careful. You still can take hits, so it doesn't make you invincible. If you take damage, you probably want to brew. I did end with only 2 brew doses, but that being said, I mean, there were plenty of cases where I used more than I had to, or, you know, I just took unnecessary damage, so... Wow, I don't know. I had so much fun recording that live commentary, you guys. That was so much fun. Let me know if you guys tried this method. I want to hear about people getting a cape with this method, because this is actually crazy, and I think this genuinely might be the best new first cape method, so... Yep, that's what I have for you today. I'm very, very happy to bring you this video. I always love wearing the Infernal cape on my back after the video. I just think it looks so cool. But yeah, I mean, really the crux of this setup is the Echo Boots, the Ring of Suffering, the Crystal Shield, just a lot of defense here. Really, really strong. So yeah, I can't believe I'm saying it, but wholeheartedly recommend this setup, honestly. So if you enjoyed that video, make sure you leave a like, leave a sub, and I will see you in the next one. I don't know what that will be, but I hope I think of something as cool as this, because this is like one of my favorite videos to make ever, because it kind of just like, just such a fierce like attack on my own previous content almost. It's like are all my previous videos like trash? Like, kind of, sort of, not really, but you know what I mean though. Anyway, I've been Rob. Hope you enjoyed. Wow, I mean, I'm just out of breath, and I don't know, that was just such a cool video. I can't believe I actually just did that. We just did the whole Inferno with like no flicking. It's so cool. I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out. I'll see you in the next one. And peace.